Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. Today, we are recapping the year and talking about what happened in the NFT space this past year, going month by month, just kind of giving quick monthly recaps, and also, talking about some of the guests we interviewed, talking about the ETH prices. So it's going to be a great year-end review here that we're doing. Yeah, but Michael, how are your holidays?
They were really good. We've had fun. We celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah in my house, so it's been a long holiday season. Yep, it's been a long holiday season. We some of my kids' cousins are in town, so we're like dragging them everywhere. My wife and I have been a little bit under the weather, but we're bulldogging through it. Lots of presents. My boy got Fortnite for the first time. So he's like,
snap.
Yep, he's obsessed with Fortnite, which is pretty funny. How do I do this? What am I doing? How do I do this? But it's been great putting a lot of Legos together with the kids. I love Legos. I could do them. I love Legos. How about you? How was yours?
My Christmas was great. I went back home to Arizona. I'm here now, actually. And it was just fun. We threw, oh my gosh, my mom threw a whole Christmas Eve party, and we literally got this 3-foot piñata in the backyard. We were everyone took turns swinging at it. We put candy in it. We played a bunch of different minute to win it games, and we did a Kris Kringle gift exchange where everyone kind of brings a random gift and
I like that. Yeah.
That whole thing. So it was a lot of fun, and all my family came over. We had or not all of them, but some of them. I think we had 15 people here at my mom's place. So
amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Now we got New Year's coming up. We're actually headed down to the Keys. We're headed down to Marathon in Key West, leaving on I think Thursday.
Fun. The Keys are always a good time.
Oh, it's the best. It's I love it down there. So relaxing, and where you go with the places we stay, they have the pools for the kids and fishing off the dock and all that. It's all really nice.
Oh yeah. I'm going to Decadence. I don't know if anyone has heard of it. Decadence in Arizona. Yeah, it's basically the biggest New Year's Eve celebration in Arizona, and they have them in Colorado, and they have them in a couple other states, I think. But there's thousands of people that go every year. I have been several times, and it's just a good time. It's a whole 2-day thing. Let me see who's performing: Flume, Fisher, Porter Robinson, bunch of DJs, and I'm super looking forward to that. So.
I used to buy tickets to that in Colorado, in Denver, at the Denver Convention Center.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember we used to buy Decadence only Saturday night. Whatever it was, because it'd be 2 or 3 nights or whatever. We definitely
you were reselling to people last minute.
Oh yeah, constantly. Yeah, that was our move. Kygo would be playing there or something. It would blow up. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, that sounds fun. So New Year's, we did our holidays. Happy holidays to everybody out there, whatever you're celebrating, whatever you celebrated. Hope you're enjoying yourselves and your family. The cold weather, how nasty's that been? It's even been cold down here. It got into the mid 40s here, which is
The people in Boston and stuff are really that cold?
I know exactly. I love doing that because it's actually really cold when it gets that cold here. I mean, I got to put a hoodie on. I can't wear flip-flops
Oh no, a hoodie.
I know.
No flip-flop weather in Florida.
Yeah, I know. It's very rare and this only happens once every 3 or 4 years. It's not even every year it gets this cold. Pretty wild. Pretty wild to see. So the 2022 year in review for NFTs, it was quite the year.
It was quite the year.
Yeah. It came in like a lion and out like a lamb. You know that saying?
What the heck? No.
They used to say that about the month of March with the weather, that it came in like a lion, out like a lamb. So I always remember that saying. And that's what this NFT year felt like, because the beginning of the year, it was hype as can be. When January hit, everything pumped, you know? So it was wild. And then sometime in the middle of the year, we'll try to figure out what happened, but everything crashed. People started leaving the market. Exchanges were collapsing. Cryptocurrency was collapsing. NFT prices were collapsing.
I wonder if this means that January things will pump.
It could. I mean, I've thought about it. Like sometimes things happen in cycles like that. However, last year, November was really good as well. And it wasn't this year. So it's not like.
Yeah, we're kind of in the true bear right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened in January? Because you put together all these, topics of what happened each month. Let's talk about January here. What happened in January?
January, the Cool Pets dropped. You remember the Cool Pets? That was really hype for a while. People were paying 2 ETH.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't it wasn't it 0.5 to mint, and then it went up to like 2-ish pre-reveal?
It was, yes, that's exactly right. That's pretty much what went down. I didn't look up the exact numbers, but I think it was 0.5. And now it's below that now. Last I looked, I believe. Yeah. Probably pretty decently below that. And I mean, it was hype and tons of volume, and they were going to have this game, and everybody, people were going onto the website and like collecting those elements and revealing them.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yes.
Fire, water, and
I would be connecting my wallet to Cooltopia every single day, gathering my milk, claiming my milk, and like playing these little games and stuff. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun month of the whole Cool Pets thing.
Yeah, Cool Pets. And our first interview ever was Extreme Tom from Cool Cats, and he explained the whole thing to us. That was in January as well.
Yep.
And it was like a whole complicated thing, and there obviously ended up being some hiccups in it, and they kind of lost favor a little bit, but that was super hype as it got when the year first started. And also what came out in January was Gary V's book games, if you remember those.
I still have mine. I need to check. How are those doing? Like,
I don't know how they're doing. There was actually some kind of redemption, and I think there's like a day or two left with it. But you had to but I don't think. Okay. I think you had to have 7 of this kind or whatever, to get different things. But they're burning them along the way. Those are still gonna, I would just hang on to them and hope.
Speaking of book games, Newbie had gotten one of the rarest book games, which I remember when we interviewed her.
Which was also in January. Yeah,
which was in January. She was our second interview ever, right after Extreme Tom, and she was debating whether she was going to sell it or to keep it. And she's like, I don't know what the utility is going to be yet. Like, she was like, because Gary Vee had said, the rare ones have better utility and stuff. And so she ended up keeping it, and I asked her the other day if she still has it. She still does. She does. So yeah.
Yeah, she probably wish she sold it if we looked.
Probably.
But I don't know. Those pumped really, those got up to 0.6 if I remember, which was probably like $1,000 or something. And the books, you had to buy 6 books to get one. It was pretty wild. And we also got our Twitter hexagons.
No, you had to buy a dozen books. You had to buy a dozen.
Oh, dozen. That's right. You had to buy a dozen. Yeah. You're right. Thank you.
Because my mom has all my books. She gives them to her Airbnb guests.
That's what's up. Take a book, please. Yeah.
She does. She's like, and then she gets she'll use that as an opportunity to kind of brag about me. She's like, my daughter, she spoke at his conference and everything. She's so funny. So
that's amazing. That's awesome. Cool. So, and on January 1st, ETH of last year was $3,683.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that's what ETH was.
That's
January. That was January. Yeah, we had Tom and Newbie, our first 2 guests. That was a good month. On February 1st, ETH was already down to $26.86. So it went down $1,000 in January. February is when the Bored Ape founders were doxxed, and that was interesting. Who was the
That's
website that did
right.
that to them again?
Oh, yeah, it was some mainstream news
Yeah,
site.
it was. It was like, yeah.
And they doxed them without their permission. And then they ended up, they're like, we're gonna take back control here, and we're gonna dox ourselves with different photos on our Twitter and everything. Well, they doxed their names, right? They didn't do their photos, but they did their names. And then people kind of looked them up and found their photos, and then they're like, okay, let's just do an official dox.
Yep. They seem to have embraced it at this point. You know, they come to the parties and take pictures with everybody. So it's cool, dancing around, doing their thing.
Oh yeah, they're there's two of them anyway that are like it's Garga and Gordon. Those are the two that are like, but there's two other founders too that you kind of don't think about that are not really out there, and they're not like really showing up to the parties as much and stuff. But yeah,
one of them was the CEO that just got replaced, right?
No, the CEO was I forget her name, but she was not a founder.
We're doing really good with the details here so far.
Right? She was not a founder, but she did get
okay,
and she went down to being or not down. I don't know, but she's an advisor.
She's an advisor,
now.
For sure, for sure. Yep. So they got doxxed in February. Hape Beast. If anybody remembers Hape Beast, I know you remember Hape Beast.
That's the one. Yeah, that's okay. So that's what I got for free, basically. Or no, I think I was able to mint it for 0.2.
There was like 0.2 or something. Yeah, it was like literally one of the most hyped up projects at that point that ever happened. I got the whitelist. Did we both get it for
from Gen X? No, what is it called? House of Kiba.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both got that from House of Kiba.
Yeah.
And we both minted. I was stubborn and held on to mine.
Yeah, you wanted to see the review.
I ended up selling it later in the year, but for much less than I could have. I sold it for 1 point something, but it did go up to like 8 something ETH, I believe.
Yeah, it's at 0.42 right now.
Okay, so at least I panned out well from selling it at 1, but yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. But that was also the month that we had the gigantic Pixelmon rug and Kevin.
The meme Kevin was born.
Yeah, Pixelmon rug that was like $76 million. That was a top signal.
Yeah.
That was a top signal. That was nasty. MFers came out that month. Satoshi, who later in the year put out the end of Satoshi, and then like walked away with like millions of dollars. He still gets like 20% of those royalties from MFers.
I thought that he gave away.
He gets part of the royalties. He gave away a lot of it, but he gets part of it.
Wow.
Whoever he is. And February, I had my FaceTime with Gary.
Oh, yeah. Your first time interacting with Gary.
I know. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And we interviewed Voltura, which was a really cool one. I always say to go to the 25-minute mark of that episode, and he really talks hardcore about his marketing and what he did for that project. I mean, he was like the darling child in the NFT space for a long time. He could tweet anything and there'd be a million responses right away. Maybe those projects have fallen a tiny bit out of favor, but still doing cool stuff. And I,
that's also our third most downloaded, most listened to episode.
Oh, wow.
So our first episode ever was our first most listened to because people go back. The second most listened to was, I don't know, this random recap, episode number 23. And then the third was the interview with Voltura. So
that's wild. Mm-hmm. And so we interviewed Voltura, we interviewed Mumbot, who everybody knows, and we also interviewed Henry G from Non-Fungible Fungi and Swicky, all in February.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Henry G has since left Non-Fungible Fungi.
That's right.
And Swicky's gone on to do some huge things. The other block was amazing. She was a big part of that. Swicky's awesome. It's awesome to watch her do everything she does. And March 1st, so I said February 1st, ETH was at 26.86. March 1st, it actually went up a little bit. It went up to 29.19. So we're hanging in there. The end of February, for reference, is actually when the Ukraine was invaded by Russia. So that kind of started like the global economic turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of that. So that was the end of February, but ETH was hanging in there. March 1st, it was 29.19. You did South by Southwest and the Doodles installation, which you and everybody raved about. I don't know if you want to mention a little South by Southwest. That seems like a pretty good party.
Yeah, I definitely vlogged it. It was a great time. That was, oh man, that was so cool. That was the first time where that was Doodles' first event, like their first event, and they really went all out. And I think after that, the price jumped. Like people were like, oh my gosh, Doodles is serious. And yeah, I was so pumped after that about just being a doodle holder and like being like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get to start to go to these events. And even South by Southwest, that's where they had the little private party where Diplo performed for doodle holders. So
yeah, that's what's up. Didn't Doodles get to like 25?
Ah, man, now we can't even fact check that.
I know.
Let me see. But yeah, no, 25. I don't know. Did it get to 25?
No. I remember it flipped the mutants at a really high price. I wish I had it. I should have actually coming into this. I should have had some historical data ready.
Well, there was an average price in May of 23 ETH, which seemed to be the peak. So you could very well be right. Of
23-ish. Yeah, that's a nice floor. That's as high as almost any collection's gotten. The Moonbirds got higher. Obviously Bored Apes and Punks and Mutants, but they might be the only ones of large collections, because there's Fidenzas and
they did get up. Yeah, they totally did get up there. Wow.
Yeah.
That is now
really
6.9. The floor 6.9.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Doodle's in a good spot. They have a good IP that they're going to be able to, like, people like it, kids like it. I saw somebody got some toys made where like the rainbow vomit was like really cool, and it like
Oh, there's well, they did do two different, like I don't know what to call them.
Are they vinyl toys?
Vinyl? Like, what is vinyl?
Vinyl's
probably, I think.
That's what they call those, the super plastic Bored Apes are like vinyl.
Oh, yeah. Like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they did that.
Okay. I didn't see those until just recently. March, the Bored Apes. Yuga Labs bought the CryptoPunks. Then that was a huge deal. That was neat.
Big. That was really big.
Yeah. That was a huge deal. VeeFriends Series 2 dropped, which I guess kind of has its ups and downs. It hasn't held too much. They dropped, I think, at about 1,000 each US, which now the price is like 0.3. So it's 300 or 400. I bought a bunch of those high. I was high and the price was high. But
I was like, hi.
Who was I? Both of us. My judgment was also high, but I should have obviously waited and bought them now, but I do like having them. I'm glad I have like 14 of those V2s.
Wow.
Yeah.
You went all in.
And a bunch of them are the Keen Kingfisher.
Of course.
Yeah. Love the Keen Kingfisher. I tried for a while to get my Series 1 Keen Kingfisher back, but the guy never took my offers. Yeah. The same guy I sold it to is still holding it.
Still holding it. Wow.
Yeah.
Diamond hands.
Yeah. And the Ape Coin drop was in March, and that was incredible for us Bored Ape holders.
Oh yeah, that thing went up to what, 25? Wasn't it $25?
About that, yep. I think it's at like 350 now or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It did. It went up and up, and I was selling along the way. I still have like 2,000, but I had like 12,000 of them to start, and definitely sold some at the top, and that was a nice bonus. And it doesn't go, a lot of people, like, I would think to myself, people have to go to work and take buses for a whole year to make that kind of money. So it was definitely
truly a blessing.
For. Yeah, it really was. Like, that was incredible. The good old Ape Coin. And we did our first crossover episode. That was with Carly Riley, Overpriced JPEGs.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was our first collab recap.
That was our first one. We also got an airdrop from her recently. We're going to get bottles of overpriced gin, is what it looks like.
Yeah, if we redeem it, right? Or something.
Yeah. And I don't think that's started happening yet. Yeah. That's
right. Yeah,
Yep.
that's super cool. Yeah, Carly's
Yeah,
awesome.
really neat. Really neat. Yeah, she is awesome. She's doing lots of cool stuff. She did that documentary in Puerto Rico and all kinds of
That's
all kinds of
actually
cool stuff.
also our only episode where it's actually on video. Like if you guys go to Overpriced JPEGs on YouTube, you can find the interview, and that was our first and only time of us literally of us like on camera doing a recap. So yeah, if you ever want to see what we look like and you don't know, go to that
Yeah,
one.
that's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. We did our Q&A live in Spaces where we talked to people from the community, and that was our first live show.
That was fun.
That was in March. We had John Knopf, the amazing photographer. We had Crypto Storm. We had Carlini. And then we had our first of 2 roundtables with the Looks Rare guys.
That was the most amount of people we had on a show at once.
Yep, that was. And that was the very end of March, because the next day, April started, and that was NFT LA, and I was out there for NFT LA.
That's right.
Yep, and that was fun. So April 1st, March 1st, ETH was 29.19. April 1st, ETH was 32.82. April 1st.
Oh, got a little pump there.
Yeah, got a little pump. ETH was hanging in there. And then NFT LA was good. I don't love downtown LA. It's not like my favorite area to hang.
I second that.
But a lot of fun things to do. Met up with a lot of really cool people, and that's always the best part about these things. And then right after that was Miami Art Week, where you were there for that.
Yes, I was. I kind of don't remember. I feel like I've been to Miami for NFT stuff so many times now that I'm like, what was that time that I went in April?
That was the one where it was like the indoor one at the convention center.
Oh, that's right. And we got like media passes for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like the projects were like, some of them were like rugs.
Oh, what do you mean? The ones that were like having the booths?
Yeah.
I mean, all these conferences, you go up to them and they're like, "Hey, we're building a metaverse with staking." And
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, those booths. If you get a booth, I mean, it's not there are some, I'm sure there's some great ones that have come out of it, but like on the whole, they're not the greatest.
It doesn't have a good reputation. It really doesn't.
Right. Yeah. It reeks of a little bit of like, but you're also like, you can't blame people for trying to get their idea out there.
Exposure. It's like, how else
totally. I know. It's a weird thing for sure. And in April, we also had our 50th episode.
Yay!
Did we do that again on Twitter Space also? And that's the one where we invited all the past guests.
Mumbot, Steph, Swicky, Newbie, Carlini, Sarah Script. May or may not be missing 1 or 2 people, but yeah, that was a fun time. That was the last time we did a Twitter Spaces, actually, that 50th episode.
That was the last time. Yep, you're right. And that was in April, so that was a while ago. And in April, we interviewed Wahid and Gio from Smiles, one of the podcast, one of my for sure, and one of our very favorite projects. Gio is no longer with them, and I don't think it was an amicable breakup. So that's kind of a shame. Wahid's now working with Jenkins. He's like on their council figuring out the art.
That's right. Yep.
So Wahid's still grinding, and Smiles is doing their thing. But we also had 2 other really good guests, Franklin and Betty. Couple of legends there.
Franklin, the owner of, what is he at, 62 Bored Apes, maybe now?
Something like that.
He's always at all the events. And then Betty, who is one of the founders of Deadfellows.
Yep. They were 2 really good interviews. Franklin was a really good one. And Betty's just awesome. She's really smart and, dialed in and for the community and all that stuff. I was really impressed. The stand she took for royalties this year, she stepped up. That was really cool. All that stuff. But yeah, they were both really good if anyone's looking to listen back. So April was a good month. And I said April 1st, ETH was 32.82. On May 1st, it was 27.29. This starts the downtrend, and you'll see in the next couple months, it gets ugly quick.
Wow.
So 27.29 to start May. The other side drop. That was in May. That was the craziest.
That might have been the last huge gas war incident or I don't know why did I call it incident, but the last big like gas war that happened, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was the biggest one ever, I think, because there was something like $150 million in gas that went to the miners.
Yep. Miners
Like
made out that day.
something crazy. There's probably people telling stories like telling their like they have like a rig of ETH mine, like, honey, I just made $2 million today, like, or whatever. I don't even know how that works. Like, where does that money go? That's the biggest scam that's ever existed, is that gas fee stuff.
And all they're doing is confirming.
I know.
Computers are solving equations and confirming transactions, and people are running. Yeah.
People were spending 2 ETH in gas, and there were, they're actually coming back a little bit. They're at about 1.4, 1.5 last I looked. There's rumors of a second trip coming.
They've been teasing stuff.
Yeah. The new CEO, who's from Activision Blizzard Gaming, I think got some people more bullish than they were. I think as things start to happen with it, the price will go up again. And then what'll really depend on is if people like the game and people start playing it, that's going to be, I heard somebody say on Twitter Spaces that we're going to know who the winner in NFT gaming is, because it's going to be like all over the news, like millions. It'll be like Pokemon Go, when all of a sudden everybody was playing it. Like when NFTs hit, when somebody gets it right, it'll be pretty obvious.
Definitely.
It hasn't happened quite yet. I hope it's Otherside, because that's what I'm invested in.
Yeah.
But I still have, I got 2 lands for free. I got my ape land and my mutant land, and I sold my mutant land and I kept my ape land. So I'm holding on to that one. I get offers every now and then, but I'm just going to hold that one. Yeah. I mean, at this point, like
this point.
Yeah, hopefully they hit. It's like, hold my breath. OK Bears also dropped in May, and that one was interesting because it was the first Solana one I ever bought, but it was the first Solana one that really kind of like got everybody's attention, got a bunch of ETH people buying in. It was before, D-Gods, and OK Bears was looking like a blue chipish type of thing.
I feel like I want to see when D-Gods came out, because I feel like they
came out early. They came out early.
They just weren't really
struggled
popular
for a while.
Beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Struggled for a while.
They came out in April, I believe. Looks like.
Okay.
So yeah, they just weren't really doing too hot.
Right.
A couple months ago, actually.
Yeah, and then it got real hot, and VeeCon was in May. A little something called VeeCon.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jennifer's super famous coming out party.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. That was a great conference.
Yeah, I enjoyed moderating panels and being able to be a part of it, and doing my whole vlogs. I think I put out like 20 vlogs within like 4 days or something, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm hoping to go again next year.
Yeah, Indianapolis is coming here. Yeah, Mini was fun. That was it was this, I don't know if you remember, but it was the same city I went to the Eagles Super Bowl a couple years before in 2018. Okay. So it was like returning to my old stomping grounds. The only 2 times I've ever been there. Yeah, it was same stadium and everything. So that was really neat to go back there. And we got to interview Gary for 5 minutes. We've talked about it a million times, but we were running around that morning. It was supposed to be in one area, and then all of a sudden they changed it at the end. And we had people like run us down, and it was like in his private suite, under the bleachers. That was a fun time. That was so nice of him to it was when he said he would do it. I was like, cool. If he's like, I'll give you 5 minutes. I don't think he realized, or even I realized, like what that really meant. Just his 5 minutes of his time during that whole thing. Because like right before we were getting ready to do it, he was signing autographs for like 1,000 people in line, and he had to like run down to us to like be interviewed for 5 minutes and then go off and do something else right away.
Yeah, he had quite the schedule.
Yeah, he did. So that was epic. That was a lot of fun. And my favorite project, Azuki, dropped in May, and that kicked off the anime craze in NFTs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and that was before we knew about Zagabond and all that stuff. So that had a whole stigma to it. Now I'll never I'm not a fan, but it's huge. It's like it's a 13.5 feet floor. It's double Clone X.
Wow.
It's almost double Doodles.
Yep.
You know, it's right around what mutants are. It's huge. You know, people like Dingaling are still into it. They did those golden skateboards, which everyone's like, it was a brilliant move. Like, whatever. You've sold these like golden skateboards. I don't know. I don't get why that was like this like huge thing for their brand, but it was, and it hit, and people liked it. And I have a weird feeling about them all the time.
Maybe you should just buy one.
I know. Well, not a 13
Fair.
and a half feet. But I should have bought one when it was like really like whenever you think one thing, do the other, and you might actually end up doing well. That was in May. We did an episode with Josh Gordon of Unstoppable Pod. We did an episode with Fuck Render, who awesome artist, everybody knows. We did an episode with your friend Sarah Stargirl. That was a really good one. She's brought a lot of good perspectives. She just dropped her project and all that. And we did an episode with funny man K Money, who now has his own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to be our competition.
I mean, they do video and stuff, and we don't.
Yeah,
so.
no, I know. I'm just kidding. No, there's I root for the other podcasts. You know, it's
nice to collaborate. When we had, or I guess. I mean, we'll get to this, but in December when we had Fonzo on, Fanzo,
Yep.
and it was like, you know, we were talking about how we content creators have to stick together. So, yeah, we've done a lot of pod collabs, like Josh Gordon that month in May, you know, overpriced JPEGs and all that. So, yeah, it's been nice collabing with other content creators.
Yeah, totally. It totally has been. I like I said, I root for the other podcasts. There's enough for everybody. Like I don't root against anybody. I think a lot of them do a good job. If anyone new comes in, I'm not going to root for them. I'm rooting for the people that are. I'm joking. I'm rooting for the people that are doing it now. But this is the line. You know, everything else is too much. So I said May. ETH was May 1st. ETH was 27.29. June 1st. ETH was 1942.
Okay. Wow.
So it started coming down. And then July 1st, I'm going to skip ahead real quick just because it gets brutal. It was 1,068. So I went from 27.29 to 1942 to 1068.
That was a brutal drop. Like,
yeah, that was ugly. I remember
ugly 3 months.
Yeah, we were talking to somebody. I don't remember who it was. And it was ETH was at like 1,600 at the time, and they were like, "Yeah, it's probably going to go down to like 1,000 or under." And I was like, "Don't say that." It was like, but that was not fun to be part of that. That was the real like bam, bam, bam. May, June, July, and July 1st was 1068. I think the lowest it got was like 900, if I recall. I don't know the exact bottom of the year.
Really? It dipped below 1,000?
It did dip below 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. That is not ideal. I mean, it's still only 1,200. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
It's really teetering. But it went down to 1068 July 1st. Let's see what's up for June. Goblintown. That was a interesting meta that dropped. Goblintown. I think it was a free mint, and it started the whole like free mint craze. But if people remember, Goblintown gathered everybody's attention because there were Twitter spaces with thousands of people in them where everybody was talking like this.
I never joined one of those, but I loved when you would talk about it. It was so
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, and it got up to a 10 ETH floor.
Insane. I know. Oh my God.
Insane.
Yep. That Goblintown. And then they the owners came out of it, and those are the guys from I'm trying to remember
Alexander Taub, who is
yep.
One of the founders of Upstream.
Exactly.
We had Monica on later in the year as well.
Yep. It's funny. There's probably a lot of people like that drop a project and they only come out and say it's them if it does well. There's probably like you know what I mean?
Yeah, if it doesn't, never mind.
I was learning.
Yeah, right. It was a learning experience.
Like they might have had like 3 or 4 before that, and then like This one. Oh yeah, this one's us. Right. We're Goblintown.
Probably, honestly.
Love that. Nate Chastain from OpenSea got caught insider trading in June.
I can't believe that was June. That felt like so long ago.
That does feel like a long time ago. That's when we talked about it on the pod. Yeah. It does feel like a long time ago. And that was the first ever incident of insider trading in crypto or NFTs, because that never happens.
I was like, what do you mean the first ever? Okay, that was a funny joke. Yeah, no, but that was the biggest kind of like, it was kind of a like, okay, everybody knows that it happens. But when it happened with someone like OpenSea, who's a bit like, everybody knows OpenSea and, you know, they worked. Nate was kind of like the voice. I wouldn't say the face because we didn't know what he looked like, but Nate was like the voice of OpenSea, and literally everyone on Twitter would turn to him when they needed help with something, or if they wanted their collection to be verified. Like, he was the go-to guy and everybody trusted him. So it was total, like, just crazy, you know, 180, where all of a sudden everyone started hating him because he did the insider trading. I was indifferent, you know, I'm never like too strong one way or the other, but it was just like, wow, that really took over Twitter. And then he ended up getting let go, obviously.
So what he did was, just so people know, basically he would know beforehand what was going to go on their like trending page, and they're like, you know, they're featured on the front page of OpenSea. And usually if an artist or a project got placed on there would be a pump, and he would buy it beforehand, put them up there, and then resell it. What I say. And then also in June was NFT.NYC again. That was the one where the Bored Apes did 4 nights at Pier 17.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's a fun NFT.NYC.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff that happened there. One of my favorite NFT experiences of the whole year was joining Mumbot and all the people from the Ghost Club at Jason Naylor's studio in Brooklyn. And it was like, I was one of the very few people there that wasn't an artist, and they were all like drawing on things, and it was like it was everybody, Brian Morris, and like, I mean, it was all these incredible 25 incredible artists. And I got invited up there, and they were just like, you know, doing this and that and drawing and having fun. That was one of the coolest experiences. That was really neat. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. What else happened at NFT.NYC? Anything crazy? We were up for an award. We were one of the top 5 finalists for NFT Media. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for nominating us.
That was neat. I think Rug Radio won it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And they probably deserve to. You know, they got their whole ecosystem and
totally,
daily, you know, everything they do, Farouk and all that. Yep. Yeah, thank you everybody that nominated and that voted. And I know people absolutely worked hard to get us nominated, because we had to be, you know, one of the top 5, and that was really cool. And that was in June. We interviewed Thread Guy, Jen Stark, Mitch Putnam, OSF, and Mac Flavell. That's a good run. If people don't remember the Mac Flavell interview, not a lot of people might know the name, but he was like ground floor CryptoKitties and Dapper Labs and NBA Top Shot and all that stuff, like worked with all those teams. And he's a fun, colorful interview. Him and I've spoken to him a few times since.
Nice.
I'm a fan of that guy. He's cool. He was the only person that ever got like mixed reviews. Some people like he's like, you know, he comes across, I don't think he's a New Yorker, but he kind of comes across like with that attitude, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we never heard him talk before, so we didn't know what to expect with him. And then we're like, oh, okay, like this is how he is. Like, it's just like, you know, sometimes you don't know how people are. So they start talking, you're like, okay, like, but yeah, he was very like, you know, a lot of cuss words, just kind of like vulgar out there, which was just like different than I guess what we were used to with our guests. But yeah, he gave a good interview for sure.
Yeah, I was a big fan of him. That was a fun one. But that was another real like the guests we've had. I'm so proud of like that whole list of guests we've had. Like, I mean, it's you know, curated by the 3 of us, me, you, and Andy, And like really, we've had people that we've really wanted to have. We've gotten asked a million times. We don't always necessarily say yes. I felt bad sometimes, but like we do very little like a pre-drop shill, like because that's when everybody wants to come on when they're dropping something. You know?
Yeah.
But we've had like, I mean, just reading the names, like I love going over all the names.
I know. I'm like, wow, we got a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Reading these back.
Really interesting people and really nice people. And we become friends. Like it's great to see people out at the events that we've had on. Like, that's a really awesome part of this. And it took us a while to start having guests. We went for 5 months, August, September, October, November, December with no guests. And then into January. Yeah. So pretty neat. That was June.
Thanks for listening to the first part of our 2022 year in review. Join us tomorrow as we wrap up the second half of the year with July through December. And as always, thanks for listening and your support. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.